Halo Sobat Milenial, kembali lagi ke program Ngobrol Seru by IDN Times. Nah, kali ini spesial, IDN Times mendapatkan wawancara eksklusif dengan salah satu pejabat Kementerian Luar Negeri Amerika Serikat, yaitu Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Melissa Brown. So usually we called her Das Brown. So Das Brown ini tidak asing dengan Indonesia lantaran beliau ini pernah ditugaskan di Kedutaan Besar Amerika Serikat di Jakarta kisaran tahun 2013 sampai 2015, dan beliau ini pernah tinggal di Indonesia dan juga sekolah di Jakarta. Nah, dalam wawancara eksklusif dengan IDN Times ini kami akan berbincang soal perayaan 75 tahun hubungan diplomatik antara Indonesia dan Amerika Serikat, dan kami nanti akan memilih 3 pertanyaan terpilih yang sudah kalian submit di Instagram IDN Times dan juga US Embassy Jakarta, dan akan langsung ditanyakan ke Das Brown. Nah, 3 pertanyaan terpilih nanti akan mendapatkan hadiah menarik dari IDN Times dan juga US Embassy Jakarta. So without further ado, let's talk about Indonesia and US Relation. Good afternoon, Das Brown. Welcome back to Indonesia.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
I hope you enjoy your visit again to Jakarta. And congratulations for celebrating 75 years of diplomatic relation between Indonesia and US. So 75 years is a long journey. What do you think about this relation?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for talking with me today. I think 75 years, it's impressive. It really is. It's a long time, but we've also come such a long way in our relationship. I think, just last November, it was really thrilling to welcome President Jokowi to the White House in Washington, where President Biden and him were able to upgrade the relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. I think, what does that really mean? That really means we were able to take stock of everything that we're already doing together, the ways we're already cooperating, but also really look to the future of where we could do more, where we could be bigger and bolder and more ambitious. So now I think the exciting part is putting that comprehensive strategic partnership into action and making those new initiatives happen.
So let's move to our questions to you. So how do you see a US-Indonesia relation over 25 years in a specific way, and what area of cooperation that could be strengthened in the next future?
So I think over the last, for me, I have spent a lot of time in Indonesia, and just even in my lifetime, the relationship between the United States and Indonesia has just really skyrocketed in terms of all the areas where we do cooperate. I can't really think of any topic where we are not already doing something. I think there's a lot of room and potential to continue to grow. And that's where, when we talk about looking to the future, I'd say I'm most excited about things like technology, whether it be on the digital economy side, but also artificial intelligence. Often we talk about the risks, but why not also talk about the opportunities and how we can take advantage of those for both of our peoples. But also when you have things like the climate crisis, we know that that's not going to get solved if we don't all put our heads together and really be ambitious in our commitments. And I think we've got some really exciting programs that are helping to address energy issues like our JETP initiative that could make sure that Indonesia is also not only just contributing to addressing the climate crisis, but being a real global leader on that issue.
Okay. Indonesia and US elevated their partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership, and with this celebration, Indonesia and US chose diversity, democracy, and prosperity. So could you explain more about the tagline?
Absolutely. I love the logo, first of all. I can take...
It is Liberty and Monas.
The Statue of Liberty and Monas. Two very iconic symbols for the United States and for Indonesia. And then the fact that our flags are both separate but also unified. It's pretty impressive. I was pretty excited to see it for the first time here today. But the tagline, the diversity, democracy, and prosperity, I think it's not an accident that the Americans and the Indonesians working so hard to celebrate this anniversary came up with those three values as being so central to our relationship, not just now, but into the future. I think when it comes to diversity, that it's a real strength. It's not something that's a liability for either one of our countries. Rather, we celebrate the differences and we really take advantage of the fact that we have populations that don't all look alike and think alike and worship alike, but in fact that makes us stronger. Democracy, because it's a great responsibility to nurture the garden of democracy, to make sure that rule of law is respected, to promote good governance, to make sure that human rights and press freedoms and all those important key issues are protected. And then prosperity, because if you don't have food on the table, if you don't have a job, if you don't have access to healthcare, people aren't going to be optimistic about what's ahead. They're not going to feel confident in their ability to provide for their families, about their children's futures. So I think that's where we're really looking down to the future. But I love it. I love the logo.
Okay, so the last question from IDN Times.
Okay.
So Indonesia held election this year.
Yes.
In the February, and US election are scheduled to be held in November this year.
Yes.
So, in your perspective, how do you see the future cooperation between the new government, whoever is elected later in the US?
Yeah. I think one thing that's so important is 75 years. We have such a strong foundation that elections, democracies, you can't always predict the results. That's the nature of a democracy. But I'm confident whoever ends up being the president in the United States or in Indonesia, whether it be in this election cycle or the election cycles down the road, that the United States is very much going to be central to Indonesia's future, and Indonesia is going to be central to the United States' future. Our cooperation is going to continue. I think the United States has a lot to learn from Indonesia, being that you just had your election, if only because the enthusiasm of Indonesian voters of just getting out and expressing their vote and their preference. I think it's a real privilege and an honor to be able to exercise that right, and Americans should get out there and vote for what they believe in as well.
Okay, thank you, Dashboard. Those are questions from IDN Times. So don't worry, we have 3 more
audience questions
from audience. So our team, IDN Times and US Embassy Jakarta, chose 3 questions from audience. So they submit their question and their hopes about Indonesia and US relation on the Instagram account of IDN Times, collaborated with US Embassy in Jakarta. So here we go. I will read 3 questions for you. First is from Adli Firlian. So congrats about diplomatic relation between Indonesia and US. And he is wondering how US and Indonesia collaborated in energy transition, maybe in just energy transition.
Oh, in the just energy transition. That's a great
JETP.
That's a great question. So JETP is a really exciting new initiative where it's not only just the US and Indonesia, but that's where I'm most focused right now. Other international players, but we're really looking at how to address energy needs while also looking to address the threat of the climate crisis, and drawing from funding not only from the private sector but also from the public sector, trying to really mobilize resources to come up with some solutions in the future. So it's supposed to be $10 billion from government sources and then $10 billion raised from private financing sources. But it's a really innovative way to try to create solutions to the energy transition. I think we're still getting started. There's a lot more work to be done, but it's really proven to be an exciting opportunity for both of us. So we really look forward to the hard work that's ahead, but it's a really key issue.
Okay, so the second question is from Miss Kia. So has a question about the how Indonesia and US collaborated in education. Maybe Fulbright.
Oh, education. Well, okay. So I will tell you. To me, it's the people-to-people ties that really make all the other areas of cooperation function as they do. We talk about diplomacy, and you think, oh, it's two governments talking to each other. But realistically, governments don't talk; people do. And it's the relationships that we form. It's the warm welcome from my friends and colleagues from KEMLU. It's our ability to address the whole range of issues, from the issues where we're 100% in agreement, and then other issues that are difficult. It's those people-to-people ties that are so important. Education, we can all agree, is just such a fundamental responsibility that we have for our youth looking ahead. We've got more than 8,000 Indonesians studying in the U.S. That is not enough. We are working very hard to make sure that Indonesians know about the opportunities in the United States to study there. There's, like Indonesia, the United States is a big country, lots of different types of schools in the city and the country, and small schools, big schools, advanced education. We've got some amazing scholarship programs, I think Fulbright being the most prestigious. We're also seeing greater interest from US universities here in Indonesia. When President Jokowi was in Washington back in November, he even addressed, he did a speech at Georgetown University, and Georgetown announced that they're going to pursue a partnership where they're going to be able to establish themselves here in Indonesia. So really exciting opportunities, but I think we agree there needs to be even more and more educational ties. Nothing leaves a bigger impression than being a student and living in a foreign country. I feel that way, having been a secondary student here in Jakarta. It really made an impression on me. So it's something I feel passionately about.
Thank you, Dashburn. So the last question is coming from colorful _ Charlotte. Wow, this is a fun question, I think.
Okay.
She or he, I don't know, wants to you answer sate ayam or nasi goreng?
Oh, this, I feel like it depends. Okay, so
You choose.
if I had to choose, I would choose sate ayam. But nasi goreng, sometimes, a real, truly pedas nasi goreng can be very, very comforting and satisfying. I would choose over both of those any day soto ayam.
Sate ayam.
Soto.
Oh, soto.
Soto.
Okay.
All the way.
All the way. Okay. Maybe
Third choice.
third choice.
Third
soto.
choice.
Soto.
But I enjoy eating Indonesian food. I look forward to having some of my favorites while I'm here. I've tried to recreate them in the U.S. It's never quite the same. But I appreciate the question, and it depends. Love them both.
Love them. Okay. Thank you, Dashburn, from interview with IDN Times. So welcome back to Indonesia. Enjoy your visit in Jakarta. So once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
75 years between Indonesia and US. So teman-teman IDN Times, selesai sudah wawancara IDN Times dengan Das Melissa Brown. Sampai jumpa lagi di program Ngobrol Seru berikutnya. Thank you and see you.